Commission only sales roles, definitely having a lot of bad press as of late. Are these jobs really as bad as they all seem? Are they all scam pyramid schemes? Keep watching to find out more. What's going on, sales family? It's Fairhead from Sales Unveiled once again, helping slash through. Watched Mortal Kombat yesterday, hence the added hand moves. All the misconceptions around sales and business and giving you the practical advice you need in your day-to-day careers. Think of a commission-only sales role and likely the first thing to come to your head is unfortunately a scam. I mean, we've all been in situations where, a friend that we haven't heard from in a while has randomly connected with us once again to try and get us to invest in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, whilst we certainly look for the door to escape. Now, I've had the pleasure or displeasure to some, working in sales for the past 10 years or so across a wide variety of roles, some of which, shock horror, were even commission only. But are they as bad as they seem? Are they all as scammy as they seem? In the video today then, guys, we're going to cover exactly what commission only sales roles are, my experience working commission only. Are commission only sales jobs the same as pyramid schemes? Don't know why I did that. Are they all bad? What to look out for if you're working commission only? Why they have a bad rap, like my horrible hip hop career? And finally, should you decide to interview for one? Those of you that are going to stick around to the end of the video will be rewarded as well with a bit of a bonus where I'll give my overall recommendation as to whether I think they're worth going after. Let's jump into it. Oh God. The humour really isn't working today, is it? What is commission-only sales? So commission-only sales jobs are a type of sales job whereby all the money that you earn through that role is based on commission only, where there's no base salary. This typically means then that the earnings that you'll receive will only be as a direct result of you performing better in your role, bringing in more business. These types of roles are also known as things like, performance-related pay, field sales, these kinds of things. So for commission-only sales roles, because you are only earning commission only and there is no base salary, the amount of commission that you would earn off each sale would likely be a lot higher. So to give you an idea, most typical sales jobs in the software sector have around about a 10% commission earning rate, whereas most commission-only sales roles would typically have an earning potential of around about 50%, which is obviously quite a large increase there. So to help break it down with a little bit of math, which I'm horrendous at, if you were to close a deal in a month, let's say that was valued at around about £5,000 in a normal sales role, you're probably earning around about £500 of commission off that. However, if you were to make that same sale in a commission-only sales role, you'd probably be looking at around about £2,500 or dollars or rupees or coins or Monopoly money. That being said, if you were to work a typical 9-to-5 sales job like I currently do at the moment, often the base salary will likely make up the difference there, so you probably end up earning roughly around about the same amount. Whilst you're thinking, well, hang on a second, wouldn't I want to work in a commission only role? That way for every deal I bring in, I'd be able to earn a little bit more. Yes and no. You see, commission-only sales roles typically focus on B2C customers. So you're selling to customers directly as opposed to other businesses, which usually means that the type of products that you're selling are usually lower in value. Think around about £100 to £200 as a maximum, as opposed to things like, £5,000 to £10,000 like you would maybe do when you're selling to businesses. As you can imagine then, that probably requires a lot more sales on a month-to-month basis in order to actually earn, a decent standard of living. For example, let's say your average order value was $100 and you earned 50%, so you'd earn $50 on every single sale. Well, if you only bring in 3 sales a month, you're only really earning $150 compared to a larger B2B environment where, you could potentially be earning that much plus a base salary, which is obviously a lot easier for yourself to kind of live off, which is kind of important there. My experience working commission only sales. So one of the first jobs I got outside of university when I was about 20 kilos lighter and had even more questionable facial hair, if that's even possible, was a commission only sales job where I was selling movie packages. I believe it was for a well-known competitor to Netflix, let's just say that. This job then consisted of walking around the city, knocking on around about 100 doors per day and trying to sell this product to customers directly. An average day then was around about 10 to 12 hours per day where, we would get together in the morning, have a meeting and then sort of hit the road and hit the doors. Sounds like a lot of hours, but I know a lot of you watching this video actually have a lot of side hustles on the go, as well as, working in sales and software sales there as well, which can also be quite time consuming. So Regardless of where you work in sales, you'll be working long hours, unfortunately. Now, the product I was selling was roughly around about £100 from what I remember. So that works out to what? Around about $70. And I would earn about £30. So that would be roughly about $20, I'm going to say, off of every individual sale. Now, overall, it was a pretty good experience. I mean, I was pretty good at it. I really enjoyed sort of the people that I was working with. But there were a couple of reasons, which I'll get into a little bit later on, which I felt was a little bit disingenuous and I felt, was a little bit scammy from my perspective. Mainly focused around the cultural nature of commission-only sales. Are they pyramid schemes? So one of the things I promise to do with this channel, guys, is always tell the truth, always give you the good with the bad. And the honest truth, guys, most of them are pyramid schemes. Typically because they'll only give you a fraction or a small percentage of the actual money that the managers above you will actually be earning on the back of your sales. This is why they recruit so many salespeople, because the more salespeople they have out there pushing the product means that the more money that they can potentially earn off of people. Hence why they go for graduates who sometimes don't know any better. So a lot of you probably already know what pyramid schemes are, but for those of you that don't, pyramid schemes are typically business structures whereby the top level managers, so the directors, the managers, they earn direct amount and a percentage of the income that you bring in for the organization. And the actually only real way we can start earning a substantial amount of money is by directly recruiting more salespeople and start earning a percentage on their sales on top of the sales that you bring in initially there as well. These pyramid schemes often promise things like such as being your own boss, working the hours that you want, managing your own time. But in reality, these are just sort of legal loopholes to get away from sort of the organization having to pay tax on the back of your salary. You will probably still pretty much be treated like a normal employee, despite the fact that you'll be, working for yourself per se. Now, because of the low price of the products that you're selling, you'll often only really make substantial income on the back of bringing in new salespeople. So because of that, they are quite a cannibalistic type of business structure. All of those reasons were why I left my commission-only sales role. On top of this, all the other sales roles out there that I saw were selling, more expensive products to more established marketplaces and more business to business focus, meaning that, the value would be higher with a base salary on top of all that. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to sort of jump from commission-only sales to traditional normal sales. Are they all bad? So I know what you're thinking, guys. Fair, you've really railed into these guys. So is there any good to these types of roles? Absolutely. You see, a lot of the skills that you learn doing, door-to-door commission-only sales or commission-only sales in general are the same skills and the same mindset that you'll need to succeed in any type of sales role. They teach you hard work. I mean, standing on your feet for 10 to 12 hours a day is definitely a challenge. They teach you the ability to think on your feet, ask open questions, and all those vital things that are very important that I've talked about in things like never split the difference. I can honestly say that I probably wouldn't be the salesperson I am today had I not done this for a brief period in my life. What to look out for? So if you're interested in joining a commission-only sales, I think there are three main things you should consider looking into and ask around about to see if it's, a genuine type of sales role or if they're just pulling your leg and just want you in there for the numbers. One, earning potential. Get a good idea of what the genuine earning potential is and what the average earning potential is there as well. 99% of us are good at sales, but I wouldn't say we're, super exceptional salespeople that can close anything that comes our way. So it's really good to get an idea and get a lay of the land there to get a good idea of what the average salesperson earns there. So typically speaking, if they are earning around about £1,000 to £2,000 or dollars per week, it seems like a genuine business that actually has legs. Whereas if you find out that, on average, it's only around about £500 to £600 or dollars, you might want to look elsewhere. Point two, keep an eye out for false promises. So if the role offers things like flexible working, offers things like managing your own hours, being your own boss, and then doesn't actually live up to those expectations, definitely a bit of a red flag there, something that you might want to consider. You'd rather the organization be upfront and honest with yourself. Point three, the product that you're selling. So I think this is very, very important. And this is just good advice really for anyone working in any type of sales or any type of business. It's really important that we believe in the product that we're selling, because at the end of the day, the prospect, regardless of if they're a customer or if they're a business, they're really going to get an idea of how passionate you are about this product that you're selling. So if you don't believe in selling, Tupperware, that seems to be something that typical, people try to sell. Avon Cosmetics, I guess, is kind of a commission-only sales type structure. If you don't genuinely believe in their products, just don't do it, because eventually people will be able to really like a book and you won't get very far. Why they have a bad rap. Now, whilst there are definitely some good commission-only jobs out there, there have to be, right? Unfortunately, a large proportion of them do fall into that pyramid scheme type scammy sales mentality, and they have a bad rap for a couple of reasons. First of all, if we think about it, commission-only sales are typically business to consumer facing as opposed to business, meaning that people are a lot more wary of you using their time for the wrong reasons. You've eaten into their time, they're not really interested in the product that you're selling, which is kind of why that kind of stuff happens. The second one is that, a lot of organizations that have gone bust, for example, because of, scammy problems, and, organizations that are exposed by likes of CoffeeZilla, for example, Spencer Cornelia, all these kinds of guys, they all typically offer commission-only type sales roles. So often at times it's death by association. If the organization is a scammy organization, then some of the sales tactics that you use are also going to be quite scammy there as well, leading to things like the ABC mentality of always be closed. Bonus time. Guys, thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video, and I'm going to give you my overall recommendation on these types of jobs. So for me personally, I don't think I would ever work a commission-only sales job ever again. I feel as though the promises just don't line up, and whilst there is definitely some valuable experience in, having the door slammed in your face, learning those quick skills, it's not worth it in the long term. So my recommendation, if you are interested in a commission-only sales job, is maybe do it over the summer if you're a student, do it on your weekends if you can, and do it for a couple of weeks. Learn as much as you can and then just bin them off, because realistically, in my opinion, they're not worth it. The reason I don't like commission-only sales is actually the reason why I don't like 90% of the YouTube fake entrepreneur type people out there, is because they give false promises without actually backing it up with real evidence. So for example, they'll give you the earning highlights of their top performer. They fail to mention the fact that 90% of their people only earn really a below minimum wage. Isn't ideal really, is it? It's not the reason that we get into sales. Another reason why I wouldn't work in commission only sales, and another reason why these fake gurus are definitely a bit of a problem actually, I think, is because of the predatory nature of them. So what I mean by that is, if you think about it, a lot of the type of people that these types of roles attract are people that are typically younger, fresh out of university, maybe don't have a lot of experience there as well. So if you're promising dreams to younger people, they're likely to be a little bit more gullible and a little bit more susceptible to fall to these kinds of things. That being said, I don't want to paint them with all the same brush. I'm sure there are some genuine good ones out there. So if you follow the tips that I laid out in this video, you should be able to hopefully separate the good from the bad and find the right commission-only sales job for yourself. Guys, I appreciate this might have been a little bit more negative than normal, but just want to say a massive thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. As always, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've actually worked in a commission-only sales job and if you agree with what I've said. Smash that like button. This feels really weird saying that, but please do. Please hit the subscribe if you're interested in more content around sales, business, life, all those kinds of things. I'm really excited to see you on the next one. Have a good one, guys. Speak to you soon. Bye.